Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be doing climbing stairs in Typescript. And so you're climbing a staircase, it takes n steps to reach the top, and each time you can either climb one or two stairs, and how many distinct ways can you reach the top. So for n equals 2, you can either take one step and then one step, or two, and then for n equals 3, you can either take 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, or 2, 1. So I'm not going to go like super deeply into DP and why we would want to use DP and why we'd want to use caching. I'm just going to assume you're a little bit familiar with DP, and essentially I'm going to go into how this problem works and how to simplify it. So pretty much, if we can make an array, I'm just going to focus on the bottom of DP here, and it's going to be an array. So if you think about it, we're going to be on. There's going to be a 0 stair, a 1 stair, a 2 stair. It's going to be up here. 2 stair and a 3 stair for this example, right? I guess in this example, we're actually going to have, let's focus on this second example. So we're going to have 3, and then we're going to have 4. Okay. And the reason we have 4 is because we can go out of bounds, right? So if we're on stair 2, and if we go 2 forward, then we can go out of bounds. So what should our base case be? So if we're on step 4, we're trying to get to step 3, and we can't go backwards, right? So it's going to be 0. If we're on step 3, it's going to be 1 because we've made it, right? How many ways can you get from 3 to 3? Well, 1, basically that is your base case. And then essentially now what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be going backwards, and at every stair you can either take 1 or 2 stairs. So at every stair, the number of ways you can get to the top is the number of ways you can take 1 stair plus the number of ways you can take 2 stairs. So what's that going to look like? So for number 2, if we take 1 stair, we would get 1 way. And then if we take 2 stairs, we would get 0. So it would be 1 plus 0, which is 1. Then for 1, we can either take 1, which is 1, or 2, which is 1, right? And that makes sense. We can get there 2 ways. So it's going to be 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then here, same thing. We're going to take 1 stair or 2 stairs. So we're going to add those together, and that's going to be 3. And that's our output. So notice also, as we built this back, we actually just took the value of the next 2 every time. So we actually don't need this array. We can just have default values for index whatever we're at, right? So let's say we're trying to get to 3. We'll just have a value for 3, and then we'll have a value for the one after it. And we can just call this first and last. And we're going to set first equal to the final stair we get to, so we'll set it to 1, and then last will be the stair right after. And then we can simply just iterate backwards. Once we know this index, let's say we're at 3, we can just iterate backwards until we get the 0 index number, and then we can just get the solution that way, right? So we don't even need this array. We can just literally need these 2 values, and then we just iterate backwards, and for every number, we're going to use the next 2 values. So if we have a first and a last, if we want the number before that, we're going to say we want this number to be first plus last, and then we want this to become first, and then that to become last. So for example, let's go through that. So let's say first is 1 and last is 0. What we want to do is we want to say, let's make first be first plus last. So first equals first plus last, which is 1. And let's make last be the old first. So last equals the old first. And that's essentially what we're going to do. And we're just going to keep the index. And then we're going to want to do this up until all the way to the 0 number. And then we're going to want to get, if this is first and this is last, then we're going to want to use first, because at the very end, first will be here and last will be here. So we can just iterate backwards, and then we just return first. Pretty straightforward. And we're going to do that. So we're going to say first. So we're going to say let first equals 1, right? Because that's going to be when we are on the stair we're trying to get to. Let last equals 0. And then we can say, so how are we iterating here? So let's think about it, right? We start at n, and then we have to iterate all the way down to 0. So we're going to say 4, and how many times do we do that? So for n, we also do have a value, right? So if you go back to this picture, this value we have. So we're iterating from 2 to 0, essentially. So let's do that. So this is going to be from let I equals n minus 1, I is greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus. And we are simply going to say first last equals, and so first is going to be first plus last, and last is going to be the old first. And there we go. And that should be it. And now we should be able to just return the first value. So we can just say return first. And that's how you do it in place, by the way. If you don't want to use a temporary variable in Python, you could just say, you can just like use this without the array, but in JavaScript you can't. So if we take out this array, this would give us an error. You can see that there. So the way you do that is this like object destructuring using an array, or not object destructuring, but array destructuring. That way, first we'll take the value of the old first plus last, and last we'll take the value of the old first. Should see what happens here. It looks like it does work. Let's see if it actually does work. It looks like it does, and you can see it's pretty efficient. Yeah. And yeah, so that's actually going to be it for this problem. Pretty straightforward one. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too far in DP. If you want to check out DP problems, I have plenty of DP problems of like last month. Everything in Python is DP. Yeah, and I do want to do the time and space here. So essentially we are looping through n backwards. So that's going to be O of n for the time, right? We're starting at n and we're looping to 0. And then space is going to be O1 because we are just using two variables. But yeah, you can do this using the array like I showed you, and you can do this using memoization, but I think the last problem I did, or I think I've done something already with memoization using a key. So I just wanted to do the simple array destructuring and show that kind of solution. But yeah, that's going to be it for this problem, I think. So hopefully you liked it. And if you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next Typescript video. So thanks for watching.